as well as having lower things. And then the same sort of principles we apply to any kind of landscaping, really apply to landscaping in a shady area. You want something taller in the background, but something's not going to grow so big that it blocks windows. Wherever possible, create, if it's a small area especially, make your walkways or whatever, don't make straight lines. Make things that wind back and forth. To create something that appears small, put a straight line between point A and point B. To make something that looks large, put a curvy line back and forth. And so, for the most part in shade gardens, because most of them are usually not too big, you'll see pathways that wind back and forth. And again, because you're in a shady area, because you are concerned about protecting tree roots, they're also concerned about what tree roots will do to pathways, I don't recommend the use of much poured concrete. Stepping stones are fine. Decayed granite is fine, mulches are fine, the tree roots are not going to mess this up, neither is this going to do damage to your trees. So these are the kind of things that I'll recommend. A lot of people want to use pea gravel like is on the floor in here. Don't recommend that nearly as much for pathways. It's harder to walk on, and invariably it winds up outside of the pathways. The granite, if you want a solid surface, is really much better. The other thing that I think is quite fine to do is go somewhere like Stone and Soil Depot, get some nice good sized chunks of native rock that you can use for flagstone, or go buy one of the poured flagstones. Some of them are plain concrete, some of them are highly decorative, but put those through the area and then plant some sort of ground cover to grow around them, and what you end up with is a nice hard surface to walk on, but again the nice appearance and the coolness of something green on the ground. Yes?
I get a lot of weeds in my granite. Is it because I didn't compact it hard enough?
Is your sprinkler system hit it?
No.
It will become less of a problem as it packs itself more and more. But it's real easy to go along with vinegar and orange oil and spray. You'll kill
Vinegar
it.
and orange?
Yeah, vinegar and orange oil.
The white vinegar or?
Preferably the chemical vinegar, preferably tickling vinegar, as strong as you can get it. The mix is 1 gallon of vinegar, 2 ounces of orange oil, and just a little squirt of dish soap. Works just like Roundup, but of course it's non-carcinogenic, non-toxic, but it kills things better and faster than Roundup does, and it worked real well along the pathway. Yes?
I want to ask you this. I have 2 big magnolia trees. Of course, it's lots of shade. It's between my house on the east and a 2-story house on the west.
Okay.
And I mean, the leaves, I've got ivy growing and I also have a big dog. But I mean, your big leaves, they never deteriorate. So I've just got leaves, unless we put them all up and then, pick them up, then you've got the bare earth because the grass is long gone. Is there anything?
Well, again, you've got a couple of choices. You can either create a hard surface that you can rake the leaves off of or blow the leaves off of, or if you want to speed up the decomposition of leaves, it won't make them go away overnight, but a little bit of molasses. You maybe 1/4 of a cup of molasses to a gallon of water, spray on the leaves, and they'll break down a whole lot more quickly.
Yeah, but those leaves,
They're big, they're tough, and eventually,
big trees.
yeah.
And so, eventually, yeah, but hey, you got them coming down all the time. So what I try to do is just contain them, and that's the color of it, is, kind of whatever.
The 3 choices are live with them,
I think
rake them up or blow them out, or do everything you can to get them to break down in a hurry. And like I say, molasses will help with breakdown, but a big tough leaf like a magnolia leaf, the tree loves it. In nature, that's how that tree evolved, with the nice thick mulch of leaves, because magnolias like moisture in the soil, and they like cool roots, they like a lot of shade, so create your own by dropping your leaves.
I have a windy path that goes through it.
Yeah.
And then I have like an old fountain that I have with all the gummies. It's enough to do it in a statue. And I guess I just stuck with it.
Well, I'm going to show you some other things you can add to the mix, but really the molasses will help them break down faster.
How much molasses?
About 1/4 of a cup to a gallon of water. It's a microbial stimulant, and the bacteria are the things that break the leaves and all down. So where you're trying to avoid mulch, or where you're trying to avoid thatch rather in the grass, spray with a little molasses every now and then, and it'll break that thatch down very, very quickly. Same thing's true of really tough leaves like live oak leaves and things like that. A little bit of that mix will help decompose a whole lot
Does it not
faster.
draw ants?
No, as a matter of fact, it repels ants.
Makes good cookies too.
Yeah, ants, and especially fire ants, don't like molasses. If you want to move them out of an area, spray some molasses around. Did you have a question, ma'am? I answered that, okay? Yes.
Well, we have the same situation that she did with a lot of leaves around the trees.
Uh-huh.
And we put, they have a weed control fabric at Lowe's. It's by DuPont. It's the 50-year one. It's not cheap. It's $50 a roll. But that stuff, you tack it down, and it's indestructible. And you can just blow. I mean, you could blow it, and you just blow them on the yard, and then you ride over and mulch them. So what you're saying, as far as like blowing them off, if you put that weed control fabric down, when it comes to getting rid of them, you just
What does it
blow
look
it and
like?
it comes straight up. At Lowe's, they
What
have
does
it.
it look like?
It's brown.
It's brown.
Like a
We
woven
have that
material?
already, the brown.
Yeah, it's a weave, but
But
it's
something lets water back and forth and air back and forth.
Oh yeah, it's breathable and
Uh-huh.
the water comes through it and the air comes through it. It keeps the ants off too.
Very good.
Are the nematodes good for mosquitoes as well?
No,
They don't take care of them?
no. Beneficial nematodes control troublesome things that live in the soil. Mosquitoes never live in the soil. Mosquitoes breed in standing water, and they may hang out in areas that have higher humidity, like in ground covers and things like that, but they're not in the soil. So nematodes aren't going to give you any help at all with those. If you have problems with mosquitoes, you can put out the granules like the Dr. T's. You can spray a little orange, and that will last for about 30 days when you put them out. You can spray a little orange oil and water around, and that'll take care of the ones that it comes in contact with. But if you have any kind of vegetation, you may have mosquitoes because they'll fly for up to a mile.
Well, if the Dr. T's granules, are they safe for like animals and children?
We would not put out anything that would be harmful to, I don't know about kids, but animals don't. No, it's like a zeolite material, kitty litter type material that has things like garlic and citronella and things like that in it. Has a pretty pungent odor when you first put it out, but after 2 or 3 hours the odor's gone. But it'll keep mosquitoes away probably for 30 days. Yes?
Oh, I just wanted to tell all of y'all one thing. I had termites in the houses. We had a leak outside. And I had a $2,000 estimate, you know, to clean the termites out, Terminex. Anyway, I talked to you, that was 10, 12 years ago. Nematodes. And I put them out every 6 months, and they got rid of mine all around the house. So they really, really work.
Yeah.
And he's got the best nematodes.
Got rid of the fleas.
Termites.
Termites.
Oh, they're amazing for fleas as well.
And grubs.
The problem is if you have a termite colony that's way underneath the slab, nematodes won't do it. But if the termites are out in the yard, the nematodes work pretty well. Anything else? Okay, let's talk about some of the bigger shrubs that will grow in the shade. And one of our favorites that will actually do in relatively dark areas, gold dust acuba. If you look on the front of our building, which is on the north side of the building, never gets any direct sun. We planted those plants about the time we opened 28 years ago. And it's the same acubas that we planted 28 years ago. We haven't changed a thing. We prune them every year or two just to keep them from getting too big. But if you're looking for a woody shrub that grows well in the shade, gold dust acuba is really hard to beat, where you want something that's going to grow 4 or 5 or 6 feet tall. If you want something shorter, there is a green form of the acuba. They either call it Japanese acuba or just green acuba. It's going to stay smaller. It's only going to grow to about 3 feet in height. But it also is an excellent, excellent plant for fairly deep shade. Green pittosporum is another plant if you're looking for a big plant. And, you know, bright shade is better than deep shade, but green pittosporum will grow 10 or 12 feet tall in a shady area. Now, one other thing to remember, that with plants, the more green pigment you have, the better it will do where you don't have a whole lot of light. The acuba is sort of a combination of green and yellow, and quite frankly, it's one of the few variegated plants that I do recommend real highly for shady areas. But green pittosporum works very well in the shade, but the variegated form doesn't have enough green pigment in it. So it's for the sunny areas only, but the green pittosporum does quite well in the shade. We didn't have room to bring everything back, but if you're looking for a different and more unusual plant, as you go out and look at what they call Mahonia, or Oregon grape holly.